Thanks for having me on, and it is such an important topic. The misinformation continues to be a huge part of this story. If I could I just give you a couple stats right here to give you a sense?
Please.
This is a stat that came out from the United States, but I know it's relevant to Canada and gives you a sense. 437%. That is how much misinformation has increased in the month of August as a result of the Delta surge. So not only do we have a surge in infections, we have a surge in the infodemic, 437%. And that was in the context of misinformation about the idea that vaccines don't work. And this narrative continues to be out there. It's hard to believe. I know denying that these vaccines work right now is like denying the pull of gravity. But still, we see it out there. You're still seeing the idea that this is an experimental vaccine, not true, that we don't have good safety data, not true. Those narratives still continue to do great harm. Another stat, 85%. So this was actually research that came out very recently. I'm going to say like 2 weeks ago from the University of Alberta. A researcher at the University of Alberta looked at misinformation all around the world to get a sense of where it was coming from. What was the origin story for this misinformation? And they found 85% of it, origin story, social media. So yeah, social media continues to be a huge part of this. And the kind of misinformation we see exploding right now, this is my fancy ivermectin chart. I've been mapping the growth in ivermectin misinformation and people searching for ivermectin on social media. This is a rough map of the Google Trends analysis I did. This is all misinformation. This is all misinformation. It's having a huge impact, not only on the use of ivermectin, but probably more important for our discussion today on vaccine uptake. The idea is that somehow ivermectin is a replacement for vaccines. Of course, not true at all. And of course, my big theme here is always, debunking works. We have to get out there and continue to counter this misinformation. Debunking works. There was another great study, again, came out just weeks ago, an international study that found that countering misinformation does work in jurisdictions around the world. Such good news. And the big thing I think that we're going to talk to, I might have to come back and talk about this more, is we have to have those conversations, have those one-on-one conversations with your neighbors, with your family members. It's painful. It can be really challenging, but it does work. And maybe we can come back to, what a good conversation looks like. But let's start with that first one. Listen. It's so hard not to. It's so hard. It can be very frustrating, but so important to listen. Not everyone's a hardcore denier. They may have questions that we can answer. People like the individuals involved in this panel today that they can answer. So looking very, very much looking forward to this conversation. I'm sorry I have to duck out, but I'll come back as soon as I can. So
no worries.
And thank you, by the way, for all the incredible work that you do. We really need you guys. Go team.